I'll do the intro and then you just go for it. Oh. No, it's okay. Hello and welcome to another episode of Stage Time, the podcast that takes you backstage before the artist goes on stage. We're here once again in St. Pancras Clock Tower ahead of tonight's Live from the Clock Tower show, the monthly live music night, where we basically gather 50 people in a beautiful venue and have beautiful music, essentially. And today's guest is performing this evening. Very excited for it. It's Eloise.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
It sounds like we need an applause for that.
I know. I was waiting for one.
Welcome.
Thank you.
First time to the Clock Tower?
Yeah, first time here. I didn't really know it was a place.
Yeah.
If I pictured it was like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Like the
I was
inside
disappointed
of that.
when I first came for the lack of
And what
that.
I'm trying to say is I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a film.
What a jump.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not really the one, but thank you for pushing through the disgust.
I'll persevere.
Really great to have you here. So this podcast is all about basically playing live, performing live, music in general, living as a musician. I've followed you for many years, been a fan of yours for many years, and it would just be great to know kind of where you got your start, or when did you first know that music was your thing?
Well, I was making noise since I was like born. I have a very creative family. So like both my parents are actors, but my mum was in musical theatre.
Oh, wow.
And her mum was a tap dancer. Her dad was a trumpet player. So it was very, very jazz and musical theatre.
And a noisy house.
Very noisy house. And actually my dad's a classic actor. So he actually was bothered by the noise. So I was just sort of encouraged to make a racket and, you know, hit things and make sounds and whatever. So there wasn't really any other option unless I was tone deaf, and then I would have probably been guided elsewhere. But that was it. There was just music all the time in the house, or people in rehearsals all the time in the house, you know.
So just in you and around you. So you just knew it was. And when did you kind of start? What's your instrument? Guitar?
No, it's piano actually.
Right?
Well, it was piano. It's fun if you take enough time off an instrument, it's no longer your main one anymore. So like I can't. I had piano lessons for like 10 years.
Oh.
But actually, I can't really play it as well as I could before. I was playing a lot of classical, and I'm less confident on it now. I learned to play guitar because I can travel with a guitar, you know?
Yeah, it's a very social instrument as well.
Totally.
Around a campfire.
Yeah, lovely. All those campfires we're having in London. Yeah.
And so did you busk? Did you, what was your kind of...
No, I did busk once, and then it was so cold that my hand started bleeding, and I thought, I've had enough of this. I'll be going home.
Shit, yeah.
No, I didn't. I was so lucky that I went to normal school and, you know, enjoyed the music department and whatever as much as you can. And then went to Brit school.
Oh, sick. You went to Brit school?
Yeah.
Cool. Nice.
But I went for sixth form, and then after the first year, I started to realise that there will be a moment when I leave this school and it's the what next bit.
Yeah.
And I was so anxious about that moment that I decided to set up an Instagram for music, because that's what they did in the olden days.
Yeah. That's kind of like your business, your shop front.
Yeah, and I was sort of feeding it, like, you know, after school. And I did my third cover, I think I did, was of a song by Bruno Major, and he saw it that day and then asked me to perform with him that week, which I already had tickets for that gig.
Crazy.
And we literally...
Did he refund you?
No, I actually never told him I had tickets. I actually told him I'd clear my schedule.
Okay. So you're down a ticket though.
Exactly. And then a month later I was dropping out of school and I went on tour with him, and I toured with him for 3 years. So that was it.
Crazy. Now that is interesting, because I think the first time I saw you live was supporting Bruno Major of Hackney.
Yes.
Beautiful show.
Yeah, that was lovely.
You were incredible.
Thank you.
It was mad. And I think there was some talk, maybe you mentioned that on stage, that you toured with him.
It's a spiel.
Yeah. So you performed in his band, or was it with a...
So I'd support, and then I would be like his keys player. I mean, I blagged my way through that though.
That's
like he's such a jazz musician. And so I was trying to keep up the whole time. It was a lot, but yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. So where were you geographically? Where are you from? Where's your...
I'm from London, but I grew up in France. So when I was 3, my parents...
This is great. I know it.
I know, I'm packed full of them, mate. When I was 3, my parents moved us to this house that my dad had sort of built up from the ground.
Crazy.
When he was younger. And we went there for like a summer, and then we just stayed, because I think I was running around like a little naked monkey, and they were like, she's so happy.
Can't take her home.
We can't bring her back to London.
They won't let her back in.
Yeah, they just won't. Yeah, exactly. And so we stayed until I was 10.
Wow.
That was it. So I went to school there. I learned to read and write in French, and
Okay, so this is I'm intrigued by people's geography, and so I'm from North Yorkshire, and so I always think about how that's influenced me in my music. French being such a beautiful language, I mean, to us, I guess, has that influenced you? Did it kind of direct your songwriting? Do you sing in French? I think I've heard you sing in French.
I've sung a couple of numbers in French, but like I would be too scared to like do that.
Okay.
I guess the lifestyle there is more what influenced it. You don't really hear loads of French music there. I mean, we weren't listening to the radio anyway, but it was more just it was so rural where I lived, and it was that lifestyle, and the parents all drinking the wine and smoking outside while the kids were running around. I think that feeling totally informed it.
Which is interesting as someone, because I listen to your music, that feels kind of, onomatopoeic is the wrong word, but kind of like, thank you very much.
Okay.
Just going to slip that in there. Yeah, I think your music sounds like that. It sounds like what you're describing.
Right.
It's kind of cozy.
Wine nights.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah, and I try and stray away, but it just comes back for me. Yeah, it just does. It does, it beckons. But it's definitely also the stuff I was listening to then, a lot of like Corinne Bailey Rae.
Oh. Did you hear her latest stuff?
Yep.
Just quickly.
Yeah.
Mental.
It's bonkers. I saw her at Glastonbury and she didn't play a single song that wasn't on the new record.
So didn't play the hits, just played the thrashing like.
Yeah, it was
good on her.
It was insane.
Yeah.
I know, but I was slightly gutted because I was basically so excited to see her.
Just like a star.
I actually cried in the tent. I mean, I was like, a bit wobbly from the night before, but I cried in the tent on the morning knowing that I was going to go and see her because she's literally like one of my biggest influences, which is funny because she's so of a time.
Yeah.
That album is so of a time.
It's so beautiful. The one we're probably both referencing. With the classics on it.
The classic.
I mean, switch it up, but that was quite a shock to me too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But all and that sounds like wine, doesn't it? That sounds like summer.
It does.
Somewhere. So that's it, really.
And would you say, I mean, it's not to pigeonhole you at all, but what would you describe you? Let me pigeonhole you quick.
Please, I'd love it.
Where would you sit, do you think, in the genre kind of like worlds?
Do you mean like in comparison to an artist or like an actual title of a genre?
Just more, because I would say you straddle quite a few different lanes in such a cool way. And I like how you've played through the albums and you've kind of got your jazzy stuff going on, pop, singer-songwriter world. The recent album was such a mix of stuff, which was really super cool. Is that something, well, let me flip it another way. Do you feel like you've had to push against being pigeonholed?
I think I have had teenage rebellious moments of being like, if you start so young, like I was 17.
Yeah, mad.
Then I think people naturally hear your music for the first time and then they go, okay, they're this type of music. When your first type of thing that you put out is when you're 17, you can't help but be like, there might be other stuff in me, but now I'm feeling like I'm having to please the people who have supported me.
Yeah.
So I think I've had like mini moments of that, but ultimately I do come back to the same thing. I am influenced by, the stuff I've always made. Maybe not the last album because that was experimental, but I don't feel like I have to push back. I think that's what I make naturally. That's what comes out of me naturally. I don't think it's always our responsibility to like try and master another genre. I think we can get greedy and like gobble up loads of types.
I don't know who is also putting the pressure on there.
Yeah.
Because there is a pressure, but I don't know who for. Because I think a lot of the audience also love the progression of seeing you explore your artistry. And
and that's the thing. I don't feel any pressure either way.
Yeah.
Because there's still the same heart in it all, really. It's not. I'm not sort of going off on a funny old George Harrison journey.
Yeah.
So.
Or a Corinne Bailey Rae kind of journey.
Yeah, exactly.
Best of luck to her.
Yeah, God love her.
And so, I think we spoke briefly just before this, but touring has been a big part of your career so far. Like a tour? Enjoy a tour?
The lifestyle on tour is the thing that I find difficult because I'm a homebody and I get really homesick.
Yeah.
And I like my rituals. I like going to the pub and like chatting for ages, which I can't do if I'm preserving my voice.
No.
So that's the bit that sort of winds me up and then I can get a bit, spooky. But the thing itself, to go and like see the stats IRL
Yeah.
is pretty wild. And like, that's amazing. And then you think, yay. So I would have, we would have all sat at the same table in the canteen. These are the freaks like me.
Yeah.
And that's really nice and validating.
That's a cool way of looking
the
at it.
emotional part of it is amazing.
Yeah.
The practicality of it is really tough. And that's just a fact.
I think there's a perception of it being so glamorous, and really so much waiting around.
There's loads of waiting around, and there's loads of like Groundhog Day vibes. You are doing the same set unless you're John Mayer and you're switching it around or whatever every night. Like, you are doing the same set, and sometimes you're grumpy and sometimes you're sad and sometimes you're too energetic, and that's the only variant.
Yeah. I mean, that, and also I guess your crowds are different countries, different languages, different cultures.
Yeah.
I mean, even I've spent a lot of time touring Germany, and city to city, you're getting a whole different
chalk
vibe.
and cheese.
Yeah. So how do you find your stage? I've heard your stage patter in the UK. What's it? Is it the same abroad? Do you whack out some?
No, I think people find me funnier in America because, which I like better. I get a few laughs, but that's just because I think I represent like a Hugh Grant space, like a female Hugh Grant thing, and they just love it. It's like a British thing. Well, it's easy. It's easy for the Brits.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's tougher in the UK and Europe place, because if you go to Dublin, it's like you're probably the least funny person there, and like maybe the least talented person in the room, because it's so musical and amazing. So it's totally varies. Sometimes I just won't talk that much at all because I'll feel too shy. I just get shy with the stage chat. Yeah, because I'm not a stand-up, and when I wanted to be a singer, I was like, I don't want to, I didn't want to be a singer and a speaker. Yeah, sure. And I guess you started your career also, interestingly, playing for someone else while supporting. It's kind of an interesting dynamic. Yeah. And so these tours, they've been mainly support tours, headline tours, both? I've had a mix of both, but they've been mainly headline. Amazing. Which has been great. I think it's because, like, post-pandemic, basically, I had accumulated a lot more listeners. So there was a lot more... there were a lot more places to go, and in quick succession. And also, like, soon after that, I put my album out so we could do another tour, because it would be a different show. So yeah, and this is my first year off, which has been great. But it's not really a year off because I'm making album. So you are making an album? Yes. Currently? Second album. How's that feeling? Great. Yeah. Great. I mean, these songs have been sitting around for so long that I'm like, I need to make this album, or I'm going to start to hate these songs. Yeah, they get stale a bit. They get stale. That's exactly it. And then once they're released, you kind of, I feel like you fall in love with them again. But I've fallen out of love with songs that, looking back at it now, like, how did I ever dislike the song? I know, because it's a good song. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And I was sort of like, I was waiting to find the right person / people to make it with, and then I was like, now we go, because it's still in me. I still have the aftertaste of that feeling, so we can still run on that. Otherwise it feels like I'm going back in time and to revisit a person I've escaped. Yeah, crazy. That is crazy. And how do you find, kind of, this is a broad question, but the industry machine as a whole? I mean, some people love riding the wave of it, the ups and downs. Some people kind of like push it away as much as they can. Are you a bit of a hustler? Do you enjoy the kind of... As I said it, I saw your eyes. No. No, I'm not. I mean, I'm like an ambitious person, but I'm not like a... This is maybe not a rise and grind, 5 a.m. I'm not that girl. No. And I think that's through the luck of like the way I've come into the industry. I've not had to, so I am aware of that privilege. I don't have the hustle because I haven't... Yeah. I didn't need it then. I do need it now. Yeah. So I'm trying to activate that part of me. But it's really hard to tread the line between like being a hustler and then being honest. If myself as a person is not that person. Right. I'm fundamentally lazy. Yeah. But also I find it all can make me feel a bit cynical and bleak about everything. When you really go into seeing how this machine is run, it bums me out. Yeah. Because it's really like, oh, I'm putting in all this like weird effort that it's pointless. And it feels like the music always comes last. The music comes last. Yeah. And the best songs do the least well and all that stuff. What is going on? I'm over it. Yeah. So I think with this album I was just a bit like balls to the wall. I'm just gonna make my album. I'm gonna make what would be my favourite album. Incredible. Yeah, that's just the plan. Yeah. And I'm going to put horns on it, and I'm not going to make it sound cool. That sounds like a hustler to me. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. Authenticity is always a big
kind of bell in my head going off. I think I resonate with what you're saying, and there's no persona with my project. I don't feel like there's a persona with your project. Do you find the lack of separation stressful, anxiety inducing when it comes to being a performer, being, for some people, a beacon? I mean, your music will soothe and
gets people through stuff.
100%.
Yeah.
And they obviously feel like they know you and they come to your shows expecting something.
Yeah.
How does that roll for you?
That's a spooky one for me because I'm so like moved by the people who are moved by it. And like, and I'm such a sponge. Like I'm a real proper empath. I'm not someone who says like, oh, I feel what you're going, like I will cry if someone's crying in front of me. And it can be way too much. Intense. So I don't really do meet and greets ever. Not because I don't want to meet people. If people wait, then like cool. But it just makes me hurt too much hearing these sad stories and stuff. And also I do think, Chapel Roan did that whole bit, which was quite extreme recently, about being like, I'm off the clock. Yeah. I'm not doing a job now.
Discourse. Yeah.
And it was interesting, but there were bits of it that I was like, yeah, there is truth. I need to feel like there is separation. I need to feel like, I'm essentially, my music is my diary. I'm actually telling you everything about me.
Yeah.
You don't need any more than that.
Yeah.
But it's how to do that in a respectful way, how to keep the separation which is a funny one.
It is a funny one. And I guess these people, the listeners, the fans and stuff, are also affording you the luxury of being able to do this. And so it is a dynamic that I definitely struggle with it also. And I'm the boundaries, and I would again resonate with you so much on the empathic front, and just the nature of the kind of world in which we create music.
Yeah.
Is very compassion leaning, empathic. It's very real, raw. And so you do get these instances of just overwhelming vulnerability from these people.
Totally. But also you're like, I'll then feel bad if I meet like 4 people and there's loads of people waiting, but I'm like, I got to go, or save my voice. The chatting, I can't do that.
Have you had vocal coaching?
No.
See, neither have I. Talking, I think I don't do it right. I've said it before on this podcast, but
same.
I will ruin my voice.
Well, it's if I go to a bar, even if I'm not drinking, I'm like talking over the music. It's an absolute disaster for me.
Because I feel like I'm being a good boy, not having a beer after the show, but I'm already still in the bar, not having a beer, but I'm like shouting over
the problem is that the beer enables you to stay longer in that environment, but the environment is the problem itself. So it's that, but then I'll feel bad because I'm like, I want to meet everyone.
Yeah.
It's such a fast world problem, isn't it? It's so funny. I'm just like whinging about the most amazing thing ever. It's so ridiculous. But you asked. So there. It's a weird one. Yeah. It's a weird one that I'll look for the answer for forever.
Yeah.
And we all will.
And I guess
unless you're someone who loves it.
Yeah.
In that way. Loves the whole meet and greet thing, and
it's
too much.
I guess you would all enjoy it if it was scalable, where you could like interact with everyone all at once in like some kind of quantum universe. Let me ask you about a fairly recent thing that happened involving you with a quite large superstar artist, just because it caught me by surprise.
Caught me by surprise.
We like drugged and just taken it.
Literally, I blinked and I was there. Yeah.
You sang backing vocals for Billie Eilish on her kind of like live setup video things. How was that?
Well, it was terrific.
Yeah. It was actually bloody awful.
It was a really weird one because I'd basically had a really rubbish 24th year, I'd say, or just testing, just one of those years where you thought, really?
Yeah.
And then that had come to a close and things started to present themselves and it started to become an optimistic time. And I was and once you're aware of one thing, you look out for the other good things. Self-fulfilling prophecy, really. Yeah. And I got a message from Phineas, and I've known Billie virtually for years, and Phineas I've met a bunch of times when I've been in the States.
Have you written together before?
No, but that's always been in the ether.
I think it'd be a beautiful
I think so too. I mean, I don't write with people, but I would.
Interesting, okay.
And he reached out and he was like, look, if you're going to be in LA around this time or you're thinking of coming, we're going to be doing this thing, and Billie and I would love for you to be a singer on this thing. It was so vague. I mean, it was as vague as that.
That's incredible.
And I just went, well, it's so funny you say that because I'm actually in LA for exactly those days. Fibber, honestly. And I just booked my ticket because you don't say no, do you? And that was so exciting. And so I spent 2 weeks there, hung out with my pals there. And then the last few days we rehearsed and shot that. And
Incredible.
it was great. And she's awesome.
Yeah.
You kind of don't want someone to be that beautiful and that talented and be nice.
Oh, no.
I wanted her to be a bitch.
There's got to be something. Yeah. No.
Squeaky clean.
The worst people, actually.
So nice.
God.
Yeah, it was really amazing. We did it in the studio where the Muppet studio, which was less impressive to me because we did it in the room where they shot We Are the World.
Oh, crazy.
And that was like my hyperfixation when I was a little girl. I would like rewatch that video on a loop. So I was in that room.
That was just a crazy time then.
Crazy time.
Yeah.
And then I flew back the next day. It was a fever dream.
And did it expose you to her audience a bit? Did you kind of like have some interaction there? Was it?
Yeah. I mean, my followers went up when that all came out.
Yeah, but
I mean, anything Billie touches turns to gold a little bit. She has the Midas touch. Yeah, she's just been so supportive like over the years. She just shouted me out loads and, for no good reason. But it's just...
And I just think that's so... I don't think people realize how significant that can be.
Yeah.
Especially this day and age. It's a
it
different
makes a
time
difference between you having success or not. I mean, honestly, most of the reach I have is because of her initial shout out. And that's not me being self-deprecating. It's just the stage I was at then was very low and bubbling.
But this is the thing though, as well, though. But then you back it up with who you are and what you are and what you can give. So I think, to be fair, she could promote a sock and the sock would probably do very well. But
exactly.
Because you're a very good sock and a very talented sock, it probably added better.
A woolly sock.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just this opportunity that just grants you so much exposure.
Yeah.
Which is so hard.
It was potential energy turning into kinetic energy. So it was a marriage that worked very well, those two things. So I'm just like so grateful because it just means I can like live in London.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah. That's incredible. But also credit to you for being on their radar in the first place.
Yeah, that's actually Bruno. Most of this all comes down to Bruno. I'm such a little leech. None of this is real.
Well, thank you, Bruno.
Yeah.
The States, you spend a lot of time there by the sounds of it. You've played there a lot. How do you like it compared to the UK? The audiences, the kind of, do they get you more there or is it
Yeah, I mean, there's so much more sincerity in the States, isn't there? There's that real earnest culture. And they like it there a lot. I mean, it streams better over there. I think also because the tour I was supporting with Bruno, that was all in the States. All 3 times we did the States before we did Europe.
You built up a good pool of people.
I built it all up there.
Yeah.
So by the time the 3rd tour came around, they'd remembered these unreleased songs that became my first EP.
Crazy.
Because they'd seen the set a bunch and then they were coming early because they knew it was sort of like a double act.
Yeah.
I love touring there. They're so vocal. If you do a run or you change something melodically.
I must say, Americans are often the loudest in the room in general, but it comes into its own in a great
way. It really works then.
For that.
Yeah. You want an obnoxious audience member like that, and you have them. You have a lot of yes.
There's no better feeling than someone giving you a little whoop when you've done a little... It's just the best.
It's
or
just
kind of like stank face.
I know, and that's great. Oh. And also... I love when I change something very slightly melodically because I know whoever's whooped that, I'm like, you're a little music nerd.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I just did there, and that was very subtle, and you got it. And you can be my friend.
Yeah, for sure. It's an incredible feeling. If someone was starting out and they come to you and they go, Eloise, you're my inspiration. I want to be just like you. I want to be a musician. I want to start out. I've got quite a good voice.
Right.
What do they do?
Perform like loads,
wherever.
Yeah. That was it. I mean, all that's done this for me is being consistently on the stage and consistently frightened and learning how to try new things. Songs were rewritten based on how I saw people react.
Right, interesting.
So from, songwriting things to just learning how to sit in your craft, your artistry. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
you really learn who you are as an artist when you play live and when you play alone live. I think that's so great. Earn your band.
Could agree more. Yeah.
Because then you know that, if all the amps cut off and like no one in your band could play, you could hold the show by yourself. Because that's another thing, keeping people's attention for that long, just you. That's the graft I think is the most important.
Yeah.
Just keep playing live.
Because
I don't know about any of the virtual stuff.
Yeah.
I'm figuring that out.
I don't think anyone knows.
No one knows.
Honestly, it's a crazy time for that.
No. And then some people really know.
Yeah.
And
that does my nut in.
I hate them.
I just can't do it though.
Yeah, I can't.
I can't cry in my car.
And I
Don't
shan't.
have a car. That's it.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to play it to my mum in the car and she's actually heard the song.
Yeah, I'd rather they were honest and like, you've played this to me so many times.
Yes, exactly. Turning it off.
Yeah.
At the end of the video. Yeah.
I do agree. I think live is where you cut your teeth. I mean, I don't know if you've ever played to know people, but I mean, I grew up in bands and stuff where it's just like two people in a pub. And I think if you can hold your own there.
Totally.
Any size audiences.
Yeah, and there are so many people, and no disrespect, but like there are loads of people coming up now who are great online and like they're doing sick videos and stuff, but like, they might only know 30 seconds of that song. And also then, they get picked up really quick because they're super talented. Yeah. And then they're doing a gigantic headline tour and they've not played a single gig and you can sniff it a mile off because they look like a rabbit in headlights. Yeah. And I think there's a confidence you have to build. Yeah. A thick skin. And it doesn't have to be a treacherous, that you don't have to be like, oh, I must earn my stripes. It's just a fun thing. It's like, let me learn how to be a show master. And hold your nerve in silences and silence a crowd that's busy. And learn how to breathe and like not have to fill the silence in a break or whatever. All of that stuff comes together. Do you say thank you after you finish a song so people clap? So it was an interesting one for me. Maybe sometimes. I think I do. Yeah. I've made it. I've pushed myself not to. Yeah. Because we all do it because it's kind of like, this is the end of my song. Yes, exactly. But I was like, oh no, I'd actually rather just like sit here and wait for someone just to be brave enough to clap first. Yeah. No, I think I'd like step away from the mic. Generally, I'll be like, that's when I'll smile. Yeah. And be like. I think it was Yeba who did her like incredible My Mind, whatever. And at the end went, that's that. Sick. So sick. I'm so apologetic on stage. I'm like, I'll probably say like, sorry. Sorry for that. Yeah. Whoops. Yeah. Okay, finally, I always ask people this and they always don't understand what I'm asking, then I have to reiterate it. So I should really change this bit. But what's your why? The reason why I do it. You got it straight out the bag, you see. Maybe it's just the caliber of guests. Very smart. Because there is nothing else I can do or want to do. It's my calling. It's just like what I'm meant to do. I hear that. And when you have a North Star, it's like a gravitational pull. It's like it happens to you and for you and you just serve it. It's like God. Do you know, it's like a God. The song just writes itself. Jesus Christ. We'll just put a beat behind that. We're ready to go. Bars, album. Jesus Christ. That's my why. Incredible. Great. Thank you so much. I can't wait for tonight. Yeah, I'm excited. Do you find small crowds intimidating? Yeah. Good. Okay, we're going to awkwardly wave to this. Thank you so much. Thank you. Goodbye. Bye.